talking with Sunny One all about the key things that you need to do to support and keep amazing virtual assistants in your business. Welcome, Sunny.
Hi, thank you for having me, Maureen.
No worries. Now, the first thing that I want to ask you is, can you share, so we get to know you a little bit, something interesting or quirky about you?
Sure. So I actually came from Ballarat, originated from China, but I've lived in Ballarat since I was very young. And the only reason why I am in Melbourne now is because of uni and work. So I'm a country gal.
Excellent, excellent. Last time I was in Ballarat, it was very cold, but very beautiful.
Yeah. Ballarat's normally like 10 degrees colder than Melbourne, which is why I am staying here even during lockdown, because I really appreciate warm weather.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to be talking about how to, support virtual assistants and what to look out for, especially when starting with a virtual assistant. Often everyone puts all the effort into getting the person, but then not really puts the time and effort into keeping the person and getting the best out of the person long term in their business. So my first question is, in terms of the first 2 weeks when you start with your virtual assistant, what is something that's really important?
Yeah, very good question, Maureen. So, to give everyone else a little bit of context, so I've been working as a client liaison specialist for a few months now, since October last year. And during that time, I've actually got to see a lot of different business owners and how they work with their virtual assistant. And so there are some things that I picked up along the way, which I would love to share with you and the audience. The first 2 weeks obviously is very, very important. And I feel like the number one thing that is the most important is communication. So communicating with your virtual assistant is just so, so, so important. And that is especially so during the first 2 weeks. So as you know, working with different people means tailoring your approach to the way that works for you and them, so the both of you. This means that you should be tailoring your approach to the way that works best for you and your virtual assistant, and that both of you are happy with.
Okay, great. So just on that, because communication's a term we bandy around a bit, we just go, oh yes, communication's very important. Yes. But what's the nitty-gritty? So what sort of communication should you have your VA in the first 2 weeks of them starting?
Yes, of course. So the first thing is to be precise and specific, telling them which platform to reach you in, and also when to use those platforms. So for example, if you already use Zoom as a video conferencing tool and you enjoy having video conversations rather than just emailing or texting, then make sure to tell them at the very start of your onboarding, day one. And also a lot of our clients actually use Zoom for meetings and having a one-on-one, and then they use emails to send a virtual assistant some important details, and then use a tool such as Slack or WhatsApp when sending the virtual assistant quick messages. I think that's a thing that I most frequently see.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Why would you use Slack or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger versus using email?
Yeah, so emails, there's a lot of things that get sent to your email. As we all know, there's a lot of different emails from sales and from websites. And so what we often find is that a lot of the times we miss out on emails, especially if they're important. Sometimes there's just so many you just can't seem to see. So what's good about, say, Facebook Messenger or Slack or WhatsApp is that you can have direct one-on-one conversations with your virtual assistant or business owner if you are a virtual assistant, and you'll actually get to see those messages really quick. So if you just want to send, say, to your virtual assistant, hey, I want to jump on a call in 5 minutes. Can we hop on my Zoom account at 12 or something like that. It's much easier and more efficient to just send that through WhatsApp than to send an email and then wait for 5-10 minutes and then realize that they actually didn't see your email.
Yeah, great. And it sounds like those first 2 weeks are setting you up for the long term, because that person would have known that you potentially would have sent through a quick message to them, for instance.
Exactly. It's about setting the rules and also how to communicate, and then making sure that both of you understand what is the best way to reach each other, and say contact hours as well. So if you really like it when your virtual assistant gives you all the important details during the first few hours of their shift, make sure to tell them as well, so that they don't leave the important details till last, maybe in the afternoon when you're most busy, when you have your client meetings, or when, say, you need to pick up the kids.
Okay, great. So what sort of things would be an example of important information for people watching?
Yeah, good question. So it depends on the business owner, and also what kind of job and business they specialize in. So, for example, one of our clients, he does like a accounting business firm. So what's important for him is all of those, like, I'm not too sure about them because I'm not too good with accounting, but the accounting details for their clients, and he needs to help them around. Those are very important because they are time sensitive, and they need to, our client needs to give his client a confirmation once he's received that. So that is important. And a lot of the times, their virtual assistant actually looks at his emails, and then when one of those emails come to him, then the virtual assistant would send our client a quick message saying, hey, you received a new form. And so the client would get it. Okay, cool. Thank you for the information. And then you could just get the ball rolling from there.
Yeah. So it sounds like some of those things are time sensitive for some businesses, like things like if they're chasing invoices or something, and they want to get the reports first thing in the day, as you just mentioned, or it could be that leads have come through.
Exactly.
Someone working for, going a virtual assistant looking after the LinkedIn, then those sort of things are time sensitive.
Yes, as well as like meetings, for example. So if there's a sales conversation and one of the possible clients leads have agreed on a time, and it's during that day or maybe the next day after, that's quite important because you need to work around that. And so your virtual assistant having that can send you the information for the meeting time, and also where the meeting will take place is going to be quite important. So you need to have good communication around that.
Yeah. Okay, great. And this sort of leads me to the step before a little bit.
Mhm.
I had a client who said to me, oh, Maureen, I don't want someone sending me all stuff through the day. I just want an end of day report at the end of the day. That's it. And then I'll address that and then get ready. The VA the next morning will know what they need to do based on the response of the business owner to the end of day report. And that's worked really well. But it's important even to get the right person and the right fit, isn't it? Even in the interview stage. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, 100%. So most of the time, the majority of the recruitment process is done by Global Team's recruitment team, but I am also involved when the clients are interviewing the final candidates. And what I always tell them is that it's so important to find someone who have the right have the same working preferences as you. So that means you want to find someone that can work around your work style and work preferences, and someone who understands your needs and also what you think is the priority. And we definitely help you through that process as well. So we make sure that you will find the right virtual assistant for you and your business.
Yeah. And so what sort of things do you look out for? Because often people they want to see the resume and they're like, I need someone who can use Keep, or I need someone who use a particular tool, and they get caught up on that particular thing, and then they get someone who's good at the tool but not good for them. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the virtual assistants are very, very smart. They're very, very able to learn, to take initiative as well. So the most important thing that is also, I just wanted to touch up on that, Maureen. You say that all the time, and I say that very often too now, because I think it's so important. So the most important thing, that is a question that I get the clients to ask their virtual assistant as well. And sometimes I ask the client that question. So what's the most important thing for the client? It could be, yeah, I want them to use Keep because I want them to manage all of our customer base. So the actual question and the actual thing they are invested in is someone who has management skills instead of someone who can just use Keep, because you can always just teach them that stuff. It's not very difficult. And with global teams, we have a whole database and a whole family of virtual assistants who are very, very smart, and they also have a lot of skills around different software platforms, and we are always able to help them out along the way as well.
Yeah, great. So it sounds like it's not just, it's about their aptitude to, show initiative and take on the management side of it potentially and lead it rather than the software itself.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And what about what sort of things go wrong in the first 2 weeks after someone's hired somebody? Have you found?
Yeah, so there are a few common problems, which is always solvable. But one of the main problems that could go wrong is not actually investing enough time on building the relationship between you and your virtual assistant. So like any normal employees, during the first few weeks especially, you need to spend time to train them and make sure they are familiarized with your working environment and working style. So, and you also need to build a relationship with them, to get to know them, to understand their behaviors, motivations, and the thing that works best for both of you. So sometimes I do see clients just starting out, say, okay, you need to do this, 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 here's a list, get to it. That's going to be very confusing, even for me. And I don't understand why sometimes they wouldn't explain things down, they wouldn't train, because with virtual assistant, they worked with different clients before, and they all have different working styles. So you need to tell them what works best for you and them. And also you need to spend at least a few 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, or even probably 30 minutes to an hour, just to sit them down, get them to familiarize with the softwares you're actually using, and to go step by step to train them how you would like them to do their tasks.
Yeah. So I'm hearing two things there. There's the spending the time getting to know them and developing the relationship, as you would with any staff member, but also having some training involved in those first couple of weeks, whether it's you doing it one-on-one or having online resources, or or having, explaining something and then recording it for example, for them to then access it later.
Yeah, so what we actually suggest for a lot of our clients is when they're training their virtual assistants to use something like Zoom and then record the video conversation, so that the virtual assistant can save it, and then they can access it in the future when they don't understand something, or they want to go back to it, or they just need to touch up on some of the things learned, because the first few weeks, of course, there's a lot to learn. And we definitely find that to be very, very helpful for both the virtual assistant as well as the business owners, because the business owners don't have to explain things over and over again, which we totally understand can be quite frustrating sometimes. And the virtual assistant can get all the information they need from that one single session. And it just saves so much time and energy for it as well.
Okay, great, thanks. And what is the strategy for onboarding around the tasks that they do? So you said you didn't like the idea of them having a big list to start with. So what's a good strategy to support VAs when they start, around how much they have to do and what they have to do?
Yeah, so things like setting boundaries as well, and just giving them an idea of what's expected for them. Don't be too harsh on them. Don't micromanage. Just take it one step at a time because, as I said multiple times before, everyone has different work style and work preferences. So the best, well, in my opinion, the best way to onboard your virtual assistant is to get them to familiarize with everything first, get them to ask lots of questions, and make sure that they are comfortable with the task that they are doing. And once they are comfortable with certain tasks, then level them up and then give them more responsibilities and then see from there.
Okay, great. So can you give me, because you're seeing multiple people a week onboarding with their new VA, which is very exciting. Can you give me a couple of examples so people can get their head into it? The type of business that you've, say, onboarded in the last couple of weeks, and what the one activity that the business owner or person in that business has got the VA to do. So the one or two things that those businesses have started with.
Yeah. So, I'll give you an example. So we had a client that onboarded their new virtual assistant last week, and what I thought was really cool was one of the first things the client said to the virtual assistant is, "Hey, we don't expect too much from you this week. All we want you to do is to understand what we do, read upon our page, ask lots and lots of questions, and also meet the team." And I thought that was really cool because it sets up a really welcoming environment and it makes the virtual assistant feel that they are part of a team and they are surrounded by support instead of just being alone in their house. As you know, all of our virtual assistants are based in the Philippines, so they do work remotely. And sometimes it can get a little bit lonely and isolating to work by yourself. So what I thought that client did that was really cool was to make sure that the virtual assistant feels very supported and make sure that the virtual assistant knows that they have people to talk to when they don't understand anything, and just to take it easy so that they can just build up on the information that's been learned this week.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a really great example of a business owner saying the key things to do are, learn about the business. So they might have given, pre-prepared stuff for them. They might have an intranet there that the VA can have a look at, website, etc., and then get to speak with the other team members and get to know them so they feel part of the team. What's another practical thing that a business owner has got the VA to do in the first week or two?
So it also depends on the business owner and also what kind of business they're in. So we do have a client, a business owner that works in the blog industry, like coaching, blogging. And then in the first week, they actually got their new virtual assistant to write them a blog based on their previous blogs that they have written and posted onto her website. So that way, the virtual assistant can try out their skills and see nitpick what things that they write normally and make sure to include it in the blog post. And then the client can then look at it, read it, and see how to improve and how to make it sound more coherent with her previous blogs. So that's an easy and fun and also a very informative and educational task for them to do during the first week.
Yeah. So what the theme there is, I think, is a great one of sharing, because you don't know what you don't know, and as business owners, you've got all this brilliance in your head. So it's about modeling, so showing what you've done and then getting someone to be able to copy that. So that's an example of the blog example, but there probably be lots of other examples as well. So for instance, we've got one of our clients who's a photographer, Sunny. So how would that apply there, where this person has supported the photographer by using things that they've already got there?
Yeah, so would this be during the first few weeks or just
Or
throughout
just ongoing, yeah.
Yeah, so our photographer clients likes to be shown on social media, so on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and all of that jazz. So our virtual assistant, well, his virtual assistant helped him create a schedule for his weekly posts, make sure to change it around and to format it the right way, add the logo, everything, make everything very succinct, as well as a newsletter. And then just get it approved by our clients every day or every few days, depending on his availabilities. And then so most of the work, the tedious task, I would say, gets done by the virtual assistant, and all of the client does is to see, yep, that's cool, yep, that's cool, and just confirmation and then post. That easy.
Yeah, great. So it is a lot of it does sound like there's some repetitive stuff going on. Carmen has just written about email management as a no-brainer. Can you, because it's so hard, like we're our heads in this all the time, so we know. But a lot of people watching won't know because you go, oh, admin, social media marketing. What are the no-brainers activities that VAs can do for you once they're onboarded and understand your business a bit?
Yeah, so there are a lot of admin tasks that you can get your virtual assistant to do, and that would actually save you a lot of time. So I'll give you some examples, responding to your emails or say connecting to people on LinkedIn. Another example is sending invoices or taking meeting minutes. All of that task can be taught to your virtual assistant, and that would save you so much time and effort in the future for you to spend it on more businessy tasks and for you to get creative.
Excellent. So it sounds like it might be a bit heavy in the beginning for you when you're handing things over, but then it makes it much lighter as time goes on and gives you time to spend on strategy and sales and whatever else you're doing.
Yes, for sure. Like, we totally understand at the start, it could be a bit frustrating as well because there are so many things that you just do automatically without thinking. And then now you have to actually teach someone else to do the things you normally do. And it could be a little bit time consuming, but just make sure you know that in the future it gets paid off so much, and then it could save you so much time and effort in the future. So for example, responding to emails. So sometimes you could be wondering why, how you can, your virtual assistant can sound like you, and you might be a bit worried on that. So one solution to that is you can actually provide some draft samples to your virtual assistant, as well as templates, and then so that you know they understand how to send messages and also that the right messages can be sent, or they can learn your tone of voice over time, which is another thing that a lot of clients do. So there are always solutions to common problems, and we can help you out along the way with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good one of just, working out templates so that people can use them, for email replies for very standard ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, and obviously, another response I heard, Sunny, what do you think of this one?
Mhm.
Where the VA actually goes into the email and might say, instead of pretending to be the business owner with a standard response, might say, hey, Carmen's busy, but I thought I'd get to this really quickly.
Mhm.
This is Jonathan, Carmen's VA, and this is, what you were after. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So, as you said before, Jonathan, who works for Global Teams, manages Carmen's emails, and I think manages your emails as well, Maureen. I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of the times, if Carmen's in meetings and she's very busy, then Jonathan would reply instead of her. And just to reply in her email and say, hey, this is Jonathan, Carmen's VA. I'm just informing you that about something like this. So if it's something that your virtual assistant can reply, and a lot of the questions that might get sent to you, the business owners, could be very repetitive, and that's something that your virtual assistant can handle as well over time.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, especially say the one one that Jonathan does for me is sending out the book, What a VA Can Do For You.
Mm-hmm.
Or if anyone's interested, we're happy to get Jonathan to send it to you as well. Now, that would be something that's really would be a silly thing for me as the business owner to be spending time trawling through my emails for a request for the book to send it.
Exactly. And that's something that you can just quickly and easily teach your virtual assistant something to do. If you are offering a free resources to get leads, your virtual assistant can do that for you 100%. And also, for example, sometimes one of our clients, he gets his leads from his website, and there's a lot of emails to go through, and his client, his virtual assistant actually goes through the email lists and then sends them individual emails to ask whether they would like to book a meeting with our client, and whether they would like a 15-minute or 30-minute meeting, and then they liaise with the person to find a suitable time, and all of that can be done through the virtual assistant as well. So you don't have to spend a lot of time scrolling through, finding the emails, sending the messages, sending multiple messages to each other to find the right time. Oh, that already sounds frustrating. So you don't have to do that. Your virtual assistant can.
Excellent. And what if it all goes wrong? What in the first 2 weeks you've got your virtual assistant and you don't feel like it's a good match, or it's, you just don't feel like it's working? What should you do then?
As I said before, communication. Very, very, very important. If you feel like something's not working, always bring it up and make sure to let your virtual assistant know that they are 100% happy for them to bring up suggestions and improvements on the communication process. So if it doesn't work, if you feel like, I feel like this virtual assistant is definitely not the right one for me, I've made a mistake, then normally what happens is the client would send me an email or give me a quick call or message, and then I'll book a meeting to understand the situation to see what steps to do from there. If it's something that can be solvable, like miscommunication or time scheduling differences, then global teams can help you throughout that process, and we make it so it's step by step, very easy to go through. But if it's something that's a little bit more harder to solve, then what happens next is we will decide whether we should give you a new list of candidates, so you can have a look at which one would suit your needs better, and then we'll help you out through the process of transitioning you with another virtual assistant.
Yeah. And I love that, because that's important, because in the ideal world, we can go, oh, yes, it's all sunshine and roses and it's all going to be wonderful. And sometimes it's not.
Yes.
So just like any time in life, like it's not quite a good match. So we're not saying that you're dismissive and you don't try and work through it. But I think if the signs are there that you just feel like it's not a good match, there's always an opportunity to chat about it and work out another solution. So thanks, Sunny. So for your parting words today, I'd love to hear, if I was, starting with a virtual assistant, and I'm a bit apprehensive about it working. What's your parting piece of advice?
Well, I would say to have a chat with us, have a chat with me, have a chat with Carmen, because it's always good to hear it from another perspective and to see. And sometimes when you say it out loud to someone else, you might understand the situation better, so you can work through a solution. So I just feel like every problem have a solution, and we can always help you out through that. And whether it's just having a quick chat or setting out a meeting or multiple meetings to work through it, it's something that we do provide, and I absolutely love to do that as well. So always do not be afraid to send me a message or to send me an email, and then we'll help you out through the next steps.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sunny. Thank you for all your wisdom today, and feedback around and insights around what to do with your virtual assistant to make the relationship work, because it is give and take. And one thing I can't stand is the blame game, where we're pointing our finger at other people and not looking about what part we've had to play in that. So thanks, Sunny. If anyone's interested in getting more information, you can email Sunny at Global Teams, especially if you've already got a VA and you want some insights on how to work with them well. So thanks, Sunny. It was lovely to talk to you.
Thank you for letting me join today. It was really, really fun.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So if you'd like to see more interviews with amazing business owners sharing extraordinary insights, click subscribe, then click the bell button, then click all, and we'll notify you.